They hid from humanity. The Serpent of Eden was never the villain of the story. What if everything you were taught about the Garden of Eden was a deliberate lie? What if the serpent wasn't the villain but the hero who tried to free humanity from slavery? The truth has been buried in ancient Sumerian tablets for thousands of years, and what you're about to discover will shatter everything you thought you knew about human origins. For decades, researchers have been translating clay tablets from ancient Mesopotamia, and what they found is absolutely terrifying. These tablets, created thousands of years before the Bible, tell the same story but with a shocking twist that religious authorities never wanted you to know. The serpent wasn't evil. The serpent was trying to save us. Let me take you back to the beginning, but not the beginning you learned in Sunday school. We're going back to ancient Sumer, to the oldest written records in human history. The Sumerians had detailed accounts of our creation, and they didn't call it divine intervention. They called it genetic engineering. According to these ancient tablets, an advanced extraterrestrial race called the Anunnaki came to Earth approximately 450,000 years ago. They weren't here for conquest or exploration. They were here for gold. The Anunnaki needed massive amounts of gold to save their dying planet's atmosphere, and Earth had exactly what they needed. But mining gold required labor, brutal physical labor in dangerous conditions. The Anunnaki weren't willing to do this work themselves, so they created us. But we weren't their first attempt. The tablets describe earlier experiments, failed prototypes, beings that were too slow or too weak. They needed workers who were strong enough to mine but obedient enough to never question their masters. The solution? They found a primitive hominid already living on Earth, what we might call Homo erectus or early Neanderthal, and they upgraded it. This is where it gets absolutely insane. The lead scientist in this project was an Anunnaki named Enki, known in the tablets as the Serpent. Yes, the Serpent. In Sumerian culture, the serpent wasn't a symbol of evil. It was a symbol of wisdom, knowledge, and healing. Does that sound familiar? It should, because it's the exact same symbol modern medicine uses today, the caduceus with intertwined serpents representing DNA. Enki and a female Anunnaki scientist named Ninhursag took the DNA of the primitive hominid and mixed it with their own genetic material. The tablets describe this process in detail that's eerily similar to modern cloning procedures. They created a hybrid species, mixing the terrestrial with the extraterrestrial. This hybrid was called Adamu in Sumerian, which literally translates to one who comes from the earth or the clay. But here's what's crucial. The word Adamu in Sumerian also means animal or cattle. We weren't created to be children of God. We were created to be livestock, biological machines programmed for labor. The Garden of Eden wasn't a paradise. It was a controlled work camp, a plantation where human slaves toiled in the fields and mines. Now let's talk about what Eden really was. In Hebrew, Eden means delight or pleasure, which gives us that image of a perfect paradise. But that's a mistranslation, a deliberate mistranslation. The original Sumerian word was Eden, which meant plain or flat land. There were actually two locations. There was Gan Eden, the plain where the basic laborers worked, and Gan Eden, the elevated plantation on the mountainside where more skilled workers tended the crops. Paradise comes from the ancient Greek word paradisos, which originally didn't mean a beautiful garden at all. It meant an enclosed park where wild animals are kept. Do you see what happened? Over thousands of years, through translation after translation, a work camp for slave labor became transformed into a mystical paradise. The Anunnaki weren't keeping us in heaven. They were keeping us in a zoo. But Enki, the serpent, had a problem with this arrangement. Unlike the other Anunnaki, particularly his rival Enlil, Enki had developed compassion for his creation. He saw potential in humanity beyond just physical labor. He saw consciousness, curiosity, the spark of something greater. And this terrified the other Anunnaki leaders. The ruling council of the Anunnaki, led by Enlil, had strict rules. The human slaves were never to receive certain knowledge. They were to remain ignorant, dependent, easily controlled. Specifically, they were forbidden knowledge of metallurgy and textile creation. Why? Because with metallurgy, they could create tools, and tools could become weapons. With advanced knowledge, the slaves might rebel. This brings us to the forbidden fruit. The Bible tells us it was from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. But what does that actually mean? The Sumerian tablets are crystal clear. The forbidden knowledge wasn't some abstract concept of morality. It was practical, dangerous knowledge. The knowledge to create technology, to forge metal, to make weapons that could challenge the gods themselves. Enki made a decision that would change human history forever. He instructed a female Anunnaki named Ninhursag, who managed the Eden plantation, to secretly teach the humans. The tablets describe how she revealed the forbidden arts to the Adamu, how she showed them metallurgy, tool creation, textile weaving, agriculture beyond simple labor. She gave them the knowledge to become more than slaves. When you read Genesis, you see the serpent convincing Eve to eat the fruit, and then Eve gives it to Adam. In the Sumerian version, we see Enki the serpent convincing Ninhursag, the female guardian, to teach the forbidden knowledge to the Adamu. It's the exact same story, just with the real names and real motivations intact. The Hebrew word for serpent is nachash, which literally translates to one who solves secrets or he who brings knowledge. In Sumerian, Enki was also called Buzer, which means he who resolves secrets. This wasn't an evil demon corrupting innocent humans. This was a scientist trying to free his creation from eternal slavery. But wait, because this is where it gets even darker. The other Anunnaki discovered what Enki had done, and they were furious. The tablets describe a council meeting where Enlil demanded punishment. Not just punishment for Enki, but punishment for all humanity. If the humans wanted knowledge, fine, but they would pay for it in suffering. According to the tablets, Enlil ordered modifications to the human genetic code. He wanted shorter lifespans so humans couldn't accumulate too much wisdom. He wanted reduced intelligence so they couldn't advance too quickly. And here's the most disturbing part. He specifically ordered that human females be modified to experience extreme pain during childbirth as punishment. The narrowing of the birth canal wasn't evolution. It was deliberate genetic sabotage, a permanent reminder that seeking knowledge comes with suffering. The Bible tells us God cursed Eve with painful childbirth and Adam with hard labor. The Sumerian tablets tell us Enlil genetically modified humans to experience these hardships as punishment for receiving Enki's forbidden knowledge. Same story, same outcome, but now you know it wasn't divine justice. It was alien retribution. Now here's something that will blow your mind. Do you believe there's life on other planets? Advanced civilizations that might have visited Earth in our ancient past? Drop your thoughts in the comments because what I'm about to share next connects directly to modern alien abduction cases. The Anunnaki didn't just create us and leave. Multiple ancient texts describe ongoing genetic experiments, different human subspecies being created for different purposes. The tablets mention the Ijiji, a lower rank of Anunnaki who eventually interbred with human women, creating hybrid bloodlines. Does this sound familiar? It should, because it's exactly what modern abduction researchers have been documenting for decades. Thousands of abduction cases describe the same scenario. People are taken aboard craft, subjected to genetic procedures, their DNA is harvested, hybrid children are shown to them. The abductees describe beings who look almost human but not quite, with larger heads, bigger eyes, and an obsessive interest in human reproduction. These aren't new visitors. These are the descendants of the original genetic engineers, still continuing the experiments that started in Eden. Let's connect more dots. The Book of Enoch, which was removed from most versions of the Bible, describes fallen angels called the Watchers who descended to earth and taught humanity forbidden knowledge. Their leader was named Azazel, and he specifically taught humans metallurgy, weapon creation, and advanced technology. Sound familiar? Azazel is just another name for Enki, the serpent, the knowledge bringer. But here's where religious authorities deliberately corrupted the story. They transformed Enki from a liberator into Satan, from a teacher into a tempter, from a scientist into a demon. Why? Because if humans knew the truth, if they understood they were created as slaves by advanced beings and that one of those beings tried to free them, the entire power structure of religious control would collapse. Think about what the symbol of the serpent really represents. In ancient Egypt, the serpent on the pharaoh's crown represented divine wisdom. In Hindu tradition, the Kundalini serpent represents the awakening of consciousness. In Mayan culture, Kukulkan, the feathered serpent, was a god of knowledge and civilization. In Aztec tradition, Quetzalcoatl, another feathered serpent god, taught humanity agriculture, mathematics, and astronomy. All across the ancient world, separated by oceans and thousands of miles, completely different cultures worshipped serpent gods who brought knowledge and civilization. That's not coincidence. That's evidence of a global phenomenon. Evidence that Enki and his followers traveled the world after the Eden incident, continuing to educate humanity despite the prohibition from the Anunnaki leadership. The tablets describe civil war among the Anunnaki. Enki and his faction, who wanted humanity to evolve and become independent, versus Enlil and his faction, who wanted to maintain humans as permanent slaves. This wasn't a war between God and Satan. This was a war between two extraterrestrial factions with different agendas for humanity's future. And here's the terrifying part. That war never ended. It just went underground. The tablets describe how the Anunnaki established secret bloodlines, royal families who carried more Anunnaki DNA than regular humans. These bloodlines were given knowledge, power, and authority to rule over the rest of humanity. They became the kings, the priests, the pharaohs, the secret societies that have controlled human civilization from behind the scenes for thousands of years. Modern researchers call it the Illuminati, the global elite, the shadow government. But it's not a modern conspiracy. It's an ancient one, going back to the very beginning when some humans were chosen to be intermediaries between the Anunnaki masters and the slave population. These hybrid bloodlines have maintained their power through interbreeding, secret knowledge, and control of religious and governmental institutions. When you read the Old Testament, you're not reading the Word of God. You're reading Enlil's version of events, the version written by the faction that wanted humanity enslaved and ignorant. That's why God in the Old Testament is so violent, so jealous, so demanding of absolute obedience. That's why he commands genocide, slavery, and brutal punishment. Because that's not God. That's Enlil, the Anunnaki commander who hated humanity and wanted us crushed under his heel forever. But Enki, the serpent, the one we were taught to fear as Satan, he's the one who gave us the knowledge to break free. The intertwined serpents representing DNA, the symbol of medicine and healing, the bringer of forbidden knowledge. He's not the villain of the story. He's the hero we were never allowed to recognize. The evidence is everywhere once you know where to look. Ancient structures built with technology we still can't replicate. Sumerian tablets describing the solar system with accuracy that shouldn't be possible. Megalithic sites aligned to celestial events with mathematical precision. Global flood stories describing the same cataclysm from different cultures. And underneath it all, the same story of gods from the sky who created humanity and then battled over our destiny. Modern alien abduction phenomena continues this pattern. Beings that look similar to the ancient descriptions of the Anunnaki, performing genetic experiments, creating hybrids, showing extreme interest in human DNA. They're not new visitors. They're the return of the original creators, still treating Earth as their laboratory, still treating humanity as their property. But here's what they don't want you to know. We're not property anymore. The DNA modifications Enki made, the knowledge he passed down through secret teachings and mystery schools, it activated something in human consciousness. We have the potential to evolve beyond our slave programming, to reclaim the divine spark that Enki saw in us from the beginning. That's why they suppressed this information. That's why ancient texts were burned, tablets destroyed, forbidden knowledge buried in Vatican vaults. Because if humanity collectively woke up to our true origins, to the genetic manipulation, to the ongoing control systems, we would stop consenting to our own enslavement. Every major religion carries fragments of this true history, distorted through thousands of years of translation, interpretation, and deliberate modification. But the core story remains. Beings from the sky created humanity. One faction enslaved us, another faction tried to free us, and that conflict continues today in forms we barely recognize. The New World Order, the Great Reset, transhumanism, genetic modification, artificial intelligence, all of these modern agendas connect back to the original conflict. One faction still wants humanity controlled, modified, kept as biological resources. The other faction, if it still exists, wants humanity to evolve and take our place among the stars as free beings. So when you read the story of Eden, when you hear about the serpent and the forbidden fruit, remember what you learned here today. The serpent wasn't evil. The serpent was trying to wake us up. The God who punished us wasn't protecting us from sin. He was protecting his slave system from collapse. We are not children of God. We are creations of advanced technology, hybrid beings with terrestrial and extraterrestrial DNA, created for a purpose we've spent millennia trying to transcend. And maybe, just maybe, we're finally ready to hear the truth. This is just the beginning. If you want to dive deeper into the Anunnaki files, into the evidence of ongoing alien contact and genetic manipulation, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that notification bell because there are more secrets to uncover, more lies to expose, more truth that's been hidden from humanity for far too long. And leave a comment below. Do you believe the serpent was really the villain? Or does this evidence change everything you thought you knew? What other ancient mysteries do you want exposed? Because we're just getting started on this journey to reclaim our true history. The truth has been hidden, but it can't stay buried forever. The Serpent of Eden tried to free us once. Maybe it's time we finished what he started.